university what the man could be 15 to 20 years. Uba obey day.
Fundamentals.
Mama Beka who TV SYZ and come on Yegusu Edia Efa and some not to do President John Mahama Egusu Awadeto Ghana and Central for Ebisebis and some our from Mantem no and one Yegusu Ayedi. Now so far Minya Komla Kulucha what TV3 Webusa John Mahama said economy no nina swano hata the economy na tetia pansam na ho de wo fam etiade ne boshe bebrebe yi obekwa ko fesi kana free hin and the second question Webusa John Mahama ne say Commander Sugar Factory aban di akosha ankura adwumakuo bi nsa for 15 to 20 years John Mahama what can we say e de ade na wo ka fa ho. And I face the last question. From La Cruce, Ebisa John Mahama. And it's a NDC, Sabra Mercy, Jinaya say, a year Ashundrie, Kratana yet in Timino, more from Monsan Chasiano, more patch, let's say. It is John Mahama, Anu ye, I want 70B, I want any. Dedikai, a whole apple quino, was a Wabano, or Ebeana Sebia, no better say a punto, Ebebaso. And I face so, ne. Bosha washa komla kluche busa say obekwa kofa free sika no obekwa kofa free because sabere ye sika semonye no wo say ebo a wo hye ni nyina eye ade eye na hi ade and aban bi aba eye wo hi ade e na ade tudwa na sika wo ho no wagina so ede aye na sabere ye ka say aban wei na hi ade ne dan say ekwan a ye befa so na ya tomaman ga na sika ne ade akɔhwan wiemu hyen ne ade adi akɔne aba aban na hia de ne say ye be gino man Ghana sika so na ya pa kwatiri kwan bi so de contract ahodo ahye ye yonkonom ne ye namfonom nsam wa bra ya huhuru bo no eno ye na hia de bono Joma ama na no ma wabobɔ so ne nyina no eye na hia de sika obeba abeto no eno no de beba abeye eti won ko say sika te say de aban we wafa na hia de a wo say sika no ate de make no
4-hour agro processing factories, 24-hour manufacturing industries.
It was a determination
Company.
And the NDC begina so na sika wo beba abeto sika obenya no obehwa se adekoro na wo so wode ye no eyade a ehia Ghana fo no
building a strong economy
eno no de be ye
and jobs
etimo bi ensu enfre musa se enfa na sika ne be frɛ ba
water and sport
and if it's about Commander Sugar Factory and some na komla klu chebusa na wo say I have won the investor media mato investor no nia wo ba beje yi Sugar Factory no nia wo ba beto Sugar Factory no say media mama no one dada sa na mo na wo tu no wo tu egu fi say aban sisa say kim and aban so besisa aban sisa say kim and nisika no atu egu eye nisika and watu egu enye sa adwen no na me na me wo ebra na me wo aban mu a me share eye Commander Sugar Factory ni mu kina anasa abere na enye adwuma no ye ba ma ne be ye adwuma and afen so ekwan ya omo fa so de adwuma de na so omo nsa no enam se emu na ho ni nti ye ba ye nim de ye ba ye ye be so ohan na to so na se krono bi akoso a emra ne amanfo bedi na Joma sisu dia se sabra ye ka say Commander Sugar Factory no eye Ghana for dia it remains a national asset. So that's a warning to the investor. Commander Sugar Factory remains a national asset. Well, then, Chebiano, Obubusa question ever a year National Thanksgiving Day. No, Yen and Jeffo Busa, one year we and a face so sad, no fee stress. No, 1 year we and I'm actually Gia Akofadiaba. Say, and a President John Mahama. Video now ready, Mr. Munyan ready. Say, and a President John Mahama. A kind, a JB, as you see, no cancer, no, any way.
Averages academic fees. I think at first when it was announced, there was a bit of confusion because some people use academic facility user fees. That is a small component of the total academic fees. And so it will cover academic fees. Of course, hostel charges and things are not included in academic fees, and so that is the correct nomenclature. Research shows that more than 90% of people in Ghana believe in God and belong to one faith or the other. If that is so, and we are a God-believing nation, then it means that we, apart from our physical labor and the efforts that we make to improve our country, on the spiritual and divine plane, we must thank God for everything that He does for us. And it's not new. In the US of A, they have the National Day of Thanksgiving and Prayer. In several countries, in Congo, in Zambia, in many countries, they have it. And I think that it pays to set one day aside so that all of us who are committed in our faith are able to make supplication to God to continue to bless our efforts to make our country prosperous and to make it progress. And so that is the reason behind it. It's a National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving. It will cover all faiths, and so the Christians would have theirs, and the Muslims would also have theirs, led by the Chief Imam, and the Christians, the Christian Council, the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council. Indeed, it's the faith-based organizations that will lead the process, and they will be responsible for the organization. Government will just be a facilitator, and as president, I'll lend my presence to these prayer and thanksgiving services.
National Thanksgiving Day, no, and on a President John Mahama Chichibno. Actually, said a city, and a choir of Befaswayano. And I was say, a mama would be to say the United States of America, Congo, ne, a mama would be more sadano. I don't to see what did that. Umunyamia say, eti we faith-based organization no bedi anymore. Na ban enso ateche. Afe eba asundwie ekrata na National Peace Council yebedu abatwa. Wosi yabodwa gingire ni yebo twene gingire amafo mire okunyesi omangana omiyafa ensentintim grata so. His Excellency John Mahama say sabre NDC amanyokoro wonyansi gina ye pibi nanso concerns na amafo raise to say the national chairman Johnson Asedun Getiaken. Concerns ni be near a sea, our Techman South, a bit near to about 2020, Yabuabu Amano, Yababa Bomba. Head ye see, said ye fast enough 1 year post for so, a kumkum Ghana this young watch. And no mercy see ye, none in H or Bianca was a peace council for any, or more promote to peace here, almost sorry, no matter crata, and Yabato Manjoko for any say, or more form of Sanchez, or Bianca was a yet yedi, Yaki and what to. And it was said ye, a dear fast from dear home, Wabra Yako to Abano, and quiet fan, yam, one traho and man by your fanfare. Say, ye be fun of the agro, to say ye any dano. No, concerns I would do a wahono, or make sure say, you address about in the coming days, or Mujina, Ombeda in a D, Ama man saying at your monka. It is only be His Excellency John Dramani Mama, Abroso, Ebino, no, a fame, a bar a year from Mantam Titru, ho apla okwana to say the kankano, or say and here they were bar, Ombeshe, Amasadiano, Akoso Quino, Ombe ye, ebe kama, and I feel so, Sika, Komlaku Jabusa say any one tea, I didn't think I was your Bobby Beno. Oso be kati wes sika seye sika die basabasano etubetwa embe ya de hia bi e wona ban mu ena no ma wo bobo so a wo hyehyehye ho bonyina eyade da Ghana fo akoma so eye Ghana fo hia de eye ono so hia de eti sika obeba beto sika obeba benya woto agye mu obusia bom de obenya wabra aban ne ye adwuma no wo begina so de aye sa no ma ya eye Ghana fo hia de won se sika enkoto sika ntwe no wi a wabesu say sika ni wa me de beye empuntunuma eti prioritization and the cutting down of waste and obegina so make sure say what de beye empuntunuma hodo a wo hyehyehye ho bo wabra wo na pro and afa so ho airport catapult and na eye abato ho nsem no so wakasa e de afa ho afa discrimination against Ghanaians war Gakli any Ketu North empeswa so eno ye concerns amanfo arezi edien no moye edien na omoye where are they taking back their Ghana cars that they are not Ghanaians e wona asem ne say bia immigration officers each yawa concerns ne say immigration officers each yawa say o Ghana card way one for Ghana card and China sa ko achi wonye Ghana ni o say sa tete no or make sure say ombedi unchuma nyina eto betwa ba o express concerns one dan e say enya dia ebeboa kra enya dia eboa emboa mining puntuo emboa mining kabom Afei Maxwell Agbagba oye na adwuma o Joy News. Ebe busa ne say scandals no dia dodo na akoso aban yi mu. MPP aban yi mu dodo na akoso. But John Dramani Mahama. What's the from JM, right? JM eti 3 top scandals wo ba ye ebeye we hi ade na wadi wo dwuma na wa me apene pomasi bre eye de he. Oh my goodness. Well, John Mahama bobo ni nyina. Odi kan si esi so dua se eba na hofama ene nana montu obetu ede adi ketase ne proye ho dwuma. Ono de wakana se na semia obetu ketase ne proye ase obedi ho dwuma. Onfani agrokra. Ena fesu obesa de akọ level foforo kra. And when they can't catch you, Omobaba na by Mumpo, so many ye. No more from Rana new Obedi. More be a man bemu with the thinking said, or Baba from a cock. And I almost saw my bedi corner so, and Brani Omubedi. Also, what the corruption fight, you know, a backward level for fraud. Political elite, our Mafa Ghana Fana, our Made Ghana Gra to Preno. Was here, Mede Bedu Obedu Hojuma. But yet John Dramani Mama video ya obo sisi I mean say dada na say foforo yi bi na o body say foforo ni bi yan fanto so na yentie ni nsem ni bi o ka tie we mame.
In the past, all our agricultural strategies have been shots in the dark. We throw subsidized fertilizer into the system and we hope that it will be used to increase food production. We just throw improved seeds into the system and we think that it will be used to improve production. What we're saying is let's have farmer service centers in all the districts. We will have the agricultural extension officers there. We'll have the seeds there. They will register all the farmers in their catchment area. They will measure their farms. This has 5 acres, this has 10 acres. This one is growing rice. This one is growing groundnuts. This one is growing ginger. What support does the farmer need? And then we'll plan that support for the farmer so that we make sure that we are maximizing what they can produce. There's a drought currently, and there might be hunger in the lean season because it's not raining in many parts of the country. Indeed, I think in the next 1 week, if it doesn't rain in the north, a lot of the maize crop and several other crops will be lost because it will be too late to clear the land and replant. And so our agri minister should start, and those concerned should start strategizing on food security. That means that we must move more into irrigation because you need to control the factors that go into agriculture. You can have your land, you can have your sunshine, but you don't control the rain. And so if the rain doesn't come, you must be able to supplementary irrigate. And that's why we in government identified a lot of the places that have potential for irrigation and we developed them. And so we need to move young people onto those lands and provide them with mechanization support to be able to produce. There's a whole of the southern Volta, billions of cubic feet of water flowing into the Atlantic. If you go to Egypt and you see the Nile, it's like a long green snake, left and right for 1 kilometer on both sides. You have farms all along the Nile. We should be doing the same on our river. If you look at the Southern Volta, I mean it's bush along the whole Southern Volta. A few people have gone to the left bank and are doing some commercial agriculture there, maize, and then some others are doing banana, the foreign companies for export. We can expand all that area and settle our young people on the land to be able to produce all-round food for supply to the market. I've heard this said several times. Ghana Water Company says the cities are outgrowing the water supply. Yes, they will outgrow the water supply. If for 8 years you don't add 1 gallon of water, certainly they would outgrow the water supply. And that's why you must always plan ahead. And that's why we have invested in expanding water supply systems. In Accra alone, we expanded Accra's water supply by 40 million gallons when we were in office. since the last 8 years, not 1 gallon has been added. But the city is growing. It's the same with Ho. Ho is expanding as a city, and it cannot rely only on the current water source. And that's why we built the Adidome water treatment plant, because it takes water from the southern volta. That water is going to waste anyway. It's flowing into the Atlantic. And so we said treat it and supply 5 constituencies with water. And so we built the plant. We started phase 1 of the distribution, and this government has not continued the other phases, because if it did, then Adidome water can be connected to the whole water supply to bring additional water into Ho. And so it's thinking with a vision and being one step ahead. Unfortunately, this government doesn't have that vision, and it's not only Ho, even it's Accra. Accra's, before, when we did the Pong expansion with 40 million gallons, Adenta and East Legon and everybody started getting water. Today they are rationing water in Accra. If your taps open twice a week, you are lucky. And so we need to expand, you know, the water supply. And one of the projects we are looking at is the Sogakope water supply. It was meant to pipe water to Lome and supply. Lome has a shortage of water, and so it was like a bilateral thing between Ghana and Togo to put a water treatment plant at Sogakope and treat the water, serve all the communities along the corridor, that is Keta, Denu, and all of them, serve all of them, and eventually end up in Lome and supply Lome City and Lome Port with water. That project is viable, but there were disagreements about the water tariffs and all that. But another way we can make it viable is to make it a double-pronged water supply system. So the water will be pushed to serve all the communities along the route to Lome. And then also another line will be pushed towards Accra to serve the Dawa industrial area. There's a new industrial area coming up at Dawa. And then to reach Tema and serve the free zones and the industrial enclave in Tema. I think that if we combine the two, that is Lome, the communities along the route, to Tema, the industrial enclave and all that, it will make that project viable. And so it's something that we are prepared to look at again when we come into office, so that we can increase the water supply. And finally, tourism. I mean, everybody knows that Volta region is has a very good potential for tourism. And indeed, a lot of domestic tourism takes place. Even people come from outside to enjoy the ecotourism that you have here, the waterfalls, the beautiful vegetation, the mountains, and all that. I think that if we invest in developing these tourist sites, it will allow more people to come in. And that's why we even built the Ho airport, because we thought that it will allow people to fly into Ho and, you know, do a tourism tour. We need to package it, and so we must get the tour companies to do a package that either brings people by bus, you know, and takes them to all the tourist sites so that they can enjoy. You have a beautiful hotel. Volta Serene is, you know, a lovely place to be. I know they do a lot of conference tourism, and so a lot of people come for conferences and things. But I think that it's a potential that we can expand. And one of the things next tourism minister must do is to look at the tourist potential of all our regions, including Volta region, and see how we can get the tour companies to advertise and market the tourist potential and be able to bring people into the region. Now let me make a correction. The National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving is not a holiday. It will be a working day, but we will take time off and pray. And so some people think that I'm declaring a holiday for National Thanksgiving and Prayer. It's not a holiday. And the Gunja girl, his name is Agboja, not Agboza. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, I always tell him that he's actually my map in and around Ghana. So every day I'm learning something new. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. We appreciate your time. And let me also say a very, very big thank you to Stevens Hotel. They actually said, Mr. President and all of us could actually use this hall for free. So thank you very much to Stevens. And thank you to all of you, our brothers and sisters from the region, from Greater Accra, Joy FM, Onia, Adom, Wezo, Unique.
I don't know, Joy FM, Wezo, Adom. Abuja TV as well as the Dwaboase so now way and I feel so power 97.9. Jumedian so now power FM and I sounds with TV as well. No radio so with TV so and pim the ATA pim and I share and 70 dia His Excellency John Dramani Mama Edia Tujaro. Yegusu Yebepuso Mano na your name Amafobia Dinkomo and look me the kind announcer say Sami Jamfi Communications Officer Emma NDC Amanyu Beba Betina by 9. Na ye ne no edi nkomo ye guso aye twen no ba enkomo no ye de be hyehyɛ so wa manso a ye ne mo ebekoso edi nkomo na ye hwese de normal ebesi akoba John Dramani Mahama the engagement with the media no odan na ni suade hunu edi a kire Ghana for normally bia o kan wasem ketashe ne proye said ye be ba be ye na de hia any level foforo a wo de be kɔ ewo eye ketashe ne proye ko no ho. What him say? Upopo when each obi. I him say when do any akono bone pa. Na say oh you and you who I say winiano. What him say no eka corruption ho. That's one so say winiano pa. Would tiasia pass ade we ye pa enye. Enam say wuni minti. Was in say any one dey adwuma wo de. Tiasia say me bone no. Bone de ba wo de facha me na ye kwaye nim. Eka corruption ho. We need to work on our thinking. The way we think. The way we see things. I want to John Mahama didn't any no. It is a Ghana baby bit baby no case Ghana enye yeda. Every day we are yedwin. So you may have a leader wadwin wadwadwin pade mo man no. That's a when young kofo mo kan wa. Omo be man na ni swade hu na be mo a. Very difficult. John Mahama wadwuma ye. Adwuma kase pa na dan anim. Or say your my Ghana for the past 7 to 8 years no. And yasem kitwa. And now no sami jamfi press conference. HAB mu kire mo. Dr. Mahmoud Baumia owo opposition or die na this so sourcing. Eya dia eni akotene wona ban mo. So sourcing woni nsusu yemu sa abere no edi akotene wo Jomama ban mu na wo gina sa de no so de aboman no. Wo mu de wo ba so sourcing enya de wo beye. To the sense of Bemu in 2017, where you won't send Jeff when Shemu, a better now watch no matter do my Yama or my Ghana. SSC, as some should ya, a cassa so saucing, young Peterson, and Peterson China, and Mani Nihini, our Yabemu, and at the end yet here. Ninia Abraham Baumia, a dear contraction function in them. On one you will be unbrehon. Obianka say so sauce ya de bone. Bemrane kire say dwumadi no eye dwumadi hu hia wo pentem a na bia betimi a resort to so sauce. Bempempi no eya na competitive bidding and na say competitive tendering. Ye biem amafo bepre ho. Na hweba o mianua enyuma wokoye Peter Boame ne anya nkonya bi wa no anopai. Eno me ya wokoye te se sunyan airport ya wokoye na sika pudu a ye tamhye ne nsem anya se wokoye airport no foforo te se de hodie no Joma ama mo ye no foforo no wokoye nsiesie wokosiesie keke wokoye rehabilitation na sika pudu a ye tam ede hye ne nsem se wonfa koye Koko Rose ahodo a ye tam contract de hye ne nsem so wonkoye it was say ye mu ne wono en adanse de ani nie sunya airport nsiesie 52.25 million. So sourced. Yeah, they are so no quanenza. Aquapa no quafo. We about me and the someji. Quanaquaye. What you factor to hold ye no? Peter Yanquani Bio. Another magic on one a song. What the whole airport to the end? Won't gap a dantemu. Pesika ya de show nensa 52.25 million. we agreement omo do omo say 2019 yes say ye nsiesie na he ho de no eti hwenso so ye dantem ho airport no na hwe sunyan airport eziesie ye omo kwai eti o say de amena de omo to bi pa joma ama wa adwuma pa ye go ahoma no so Dr. Jonathan Asante Asante Ochre political analyst ye ni nkomo mfa ensema wodo John Dramani Mahama e de atudwa titiriu senia wo hwie na probo na wone nsantwefo Asia na woma no ho kwan momo ebisebisa ne nsem de gina ma de betima ye as far as the chances going into the elections are concerned. Dr. Jonathan Asante Ochre yemwachi mwakwaba. As always me da se pass wa Japan say oni ye bekasa na no pay wo Dwaboase dwumadie iso. Where the kind Mammy came out say His Excellency John Mahama na probono ene na hofama ne kasa ne boa wɔhyehyɛ menua nsɛntwani kɔmla kruche busa no question a while ago say hey a boy a wɔhyehyɛ ne said your my Ghana economy city no ɛfa na obenya ne sika free Emma John Mahama ya no say obe prioritize obe cut it down waste ɛno betima boa no ɛno ye enya no pa betima ma obi anya ahwehwɛ mu say John Mahama ebenya ahohare etimi ayɛ adwuma no said ye city
Kwame Minkah Mami Tia Kotia for no share for Nana pay. Medic conscious history, the fact to say in the Fourth Republic, you know, a buying beer go about one more beer. A buying beer bobbesia. Abra Yewa Rollins not be prisoner. That time me in redenominate here. No, you cannot. Yewa for a buy on no swear by year and idea. Redenomination all connect about 9 point something billion. Now, I may agree with you. On another, we have debt forgiveness, and into the creative very bad or erroneous as if they be on another, we didn't get that debt forgiveness. No, what they cut after debt forgiveness, what they cut a cow as a bubuwa, but who's on also a boakapa. And I ever mean to Mahama buy. I mean, charge almost free, so no. There 1.120 billion or 120.2 something. I say, now there's way. Now, to see a brave woman, you through 120, I have to do 740. Hey, and no bizarre one say about the same. That's it. Either our current government has been excessively corrupt or uncontrollably which word should I even use? Uncontrollably wasteful. Uncontrollably wasteful. Either they have been excessively corrupt or uncontrollably wasteful. Now, so what that means is that corruption indicators now on and yet 3 years in a row, our current government, you know, are talking the same percentage of Penny Mahama Elpriso or talking. And at that time, he was accused of corruption. But in the best period, you know, our current government has not been able to achieve. So, on the scale of probability, it means to say, in terms of corruption, our current government has performed abysmally. Now, so if that is the case, let's say Naya Bobesia, Unquao Brasuno, Bessia Bonapa Dumpan Pensua, and Quafua de Heka. Yet, Minchia give me any reasonable reason. I bet you not convince me. Either you have been too corrupt or you have been too wasteful. So if you have Mr. Mahama, Senior Wokan.
Yeah.
So I'm fast tracking.
Yeah.
Senior will be a teacher. It means to say, if he is to ensure, say, he will be able to achieve some of these promises, then he ought not to be wasteful. So if he is not wasteful, it means that he will have resources at his disposal to ensure, say, what he may man.
So is that to say, is that to say, yes, ye kase ye nisika. Bani a ye nisika ne say ye say sika. Na si ye jai sika say ya yɛbɛnya sika de ayɛ ɛnɔɔma a yɛpɛ sɛ yɛbɛbɔ a
ne prioritize ya yɛbɛtumi nya sika yɛ saa nneɛma no. And we have pinpointed areas that we have been wasteful as a nation. And as a government, we have been wasteful. Until we are pinpointing those areas. Now, the only reason why you can believe him is the fact that he has been there before. Now, he has been there before, and he has the benefit of hindsight. As what now says, your compound would know. We have some mistake away. We are sound from Soy. We never could be a dear way because of my experience, great experience. I have not blocked it. I have not cut it down. He's telling you, sir, he intends to reduce ministerial appointments to 60. Can you imagine the savings that as a nation will make? Two, what's it? Sir, as gracia. So we an appointee here, like executives, ministers, or making sure that does not see the light of day. Two, a person making sure that you protect the staff as naire. That's what it.
Yeah.
Now, if all of this, we never had a situation where our presidents were traveling in executive jets, hired executive jets. We never had any situation like that. But we have had it. That is wastefulness. That is wastefulness. And you know, okay, can't with boom. And then Yama can be a Minka once and says, yeah. Then it means that you are someone who appears well focused and wanting to do something to change the narrative that we find ourselves. I mean, imagine Mr. Mahama winning the election and doing similar or worse things that our current government has done. This country will bend. This country will bend. So the point is that he cannot fail us should he win the election. He cannot. Because with the benefit of hindsight and the experience that you have had, he can't stand before Atomasun Kaka. It is not going to be just partisan appointments. I think and I believe he said he's going to put people who have the expertise and are well qualified and not partisan driven, but national interest driven to occupy various positions in this country when he wins the election.
All right.
And I think that particular disposition, idea is very good. Unless someone can convince me, say, he's just saying this just for the elections and win, and after that, I think that the expectation of Ghanaians for him is very high. It's very high. Now, sometimes I hear people, I've listened to Michael Dwaboase saying, they have created this job to me. My goodness. Look, if you look at the value chain, so in the period of school, you don't work. The middle level is to complete and work, get a job or create a job. After that, you create your own family, and the cycle continues. But here is the situation: the middle of the value chain is disrupted. That is why you are seeing thousands of the youth and skilled labor living out of this country in droves. So there is a disequilibrium. And it means to say that portal ought to be filled. And that can only be driven in a situation where we create more jobs. And if he can implement the 24-hour economy, then this country, the narrative of joblessness will change. Global Info Analytics, Afro Barometer, 9 out of 10 Ghanaians say that we are going in the wrong direction. So it means that must reflect in the elections that we are going to have. Global Info Analytics, the economy, joblessness, and education, these are the 3 top where Ghanaians are considering to take a decision as to who becomes the next president. And it's an expectation of Ghanaians now very high. And it's now he has to be very watchful and careful the kinds of promises that he makes. You make those promises, you win the elections, it will become a problem for your successor because you will not be able to achieve those things that you say you are going to do. So you should be measured because you've been there before. Now, at the back, so we need elections to obey the books of the country before all the youth, the real situation on the ground. According to him, there are certain things that the government has even been hiding. So with that, it means to say, we as a nation, we are going to be part of the creation. That is what he said. We'll be part of the creation and we'll be part of the sharing. I mean, I will share that strategy and style now are adopted now. All of these have come about because of he having been there before and the experience that he's had and the benefit of hindsight. What you say? And no, me idea. Original so idea what they cancer and work on. You know, in terms of believability, having been there and having had that experience, I think say, I want to mean ya. Kawonka. That's a one to mean ya so and a big problem at the man successor.
Now, me perceive ye contrast bibi. So the other side and so the incumbent, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, and also Bapura was apetu me free Ghana for a while. Also, nam dying this wajatum. So my Ghana ni fiscal space. You bet me imagine so dear I am Puntuyama. It was so no bar or best share a year fiscal responsibility and meranimo ekina. No, I shall say, be ye juma. Said a beya sika beba mo motimi and I am Puntuyama hodwa. One, I didn't think a Ghana for NJ John Mahama Dienindi. No more Baumia Dienintumu. And yes, and Pano.
Okay. Asampano Walker. Asamna Walker. Now, Utie, Sir Abrantiana, Okoka say that Dutch passport is important than the PhD.
That's right.
PhD. Or something you are sending to Jack. A ban is saying, I say, opposition for the make a promise. It sounds so many of them. Now, what them, I don't know, make a promise because you are already in the fray. So you should do it. You should get it done. You know very well that there is no physical. And now, fiscal,
Fiscal Responsibility Act.
Fiscal Responsibility Act. One more pass.
In fact, yeah.
One can also went to me and this. Sadly, you want people to say, okay, we'll take you from here, we are going to do certain things differently. A problem, they say, will people believe the things you are saying when in actual fact you are in government? Or no one can send a lumuto. Or say, you're a Mahama, some people be. Now, if you had anything to do 8 years, I didn't tell when to me, why? Why couldn't you have done it 8 years? Why?
Yeah.
And it's on the social media.
Yeah.
The same question. He who calls for equity must come with clean hands. The same scale will be asked of him today. Now, I hope they are not dodgy. Oh, media me a mate. And your driver, no. The driver, no, the mate, nothing. I'm a Shanghai, my driver, a driver, careless. I walk on him. If you went some back, I can't move you now. The son said, who could you make you know? You know what time of it? I was for what you catch them. Or fuck one bonus out to catch hand. And especially with your expertise as an economist and the way they touted your economic
credentials
skill
and prowess.
Ability.
Yeah.
Is this what we are seeing today? Is this what we are seeing today? No government creates a middle level income problem and survives. No government creates problems for the middle income level group or class and survives. You won't survive because what critique this government
disaffection.
Yes, disaffection. for the middle class. The middle class is an interface between the upper and the lower. The lower often has access to the middle class more than those in the upper class. So now that you have created that way, you have created more problems for those at the lower class. Into haircut, and one instance one, and also statistics available now. Like, for example, Ghana Statistical Service, this information about it. 8 million Ghanaians went without food in a day. World Bank said over 800,000 around 2 years ago have fallen below the poverty level. All these things are part of your performance. And you know, I didn't and Ghana for a Judy. They say, who namely go up? Who namely go up? You know, Mahama, then namely go up.
As we both, Doc Bibo, as Summit was here, their inability to tout or more and no more my year wabro more bemno should tell us there what we initiate it now.
That is it. Agrobus You see, if they had performed well, Dr. Baumia would have latched on the economy to succeed President Akufo-Addo. Why is he not talking about the economy? This is the same principle you used to win the 2016 election. You continued on that tangent before the 2020. You do the same thing.
Yeah.
Now, why are you dodging from that? Ufi said that about me, if the CD to the dollar were to be 3 cedis 50 pesos today, because it would have reflected in the various sectors of the economy. It would have reflected in the various sectors of the economy. We wouldn't have had high prices of commodities on the market. We wouldn't have had imported inflation. What I say, we would have had price stability. Probably we wouldn't have had high prices of fuel. And that's the fuel every 70 cedis. A gallon. So I see that to see a near man Ghana for the one. And I have to say, someone was almost trained so that they will just go and show the government.
Maybe to be free, but on the issue of Ketazane project, I think about politics, you know, about Ketazane project corner. Edientina, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia said, "Yeah, John Dramani Mahama de Awadinka, and Ekra Wadins and Jeff Woodin Komo, a year from Mountain, or Dinah me ba, me the back the next level." Ukra why wadwin say Obama abem no menya adwin say ubeye bibi ebeti amra no na emra ne che wani ubedi adinti na ba omi ntimi nya that same awoden enkasa mfa ketansa ne proye ekon no ho adinti na.
The best of the current government fight against corruption is the worst of Mr. Mohammed's period. 43%. 43%. We don't wait me aka. That about me. Yura Yanteti Abodin. Our issue.
Yeah.
Your name has also been mentioned in the PDS deal. Now, what we say? I don't say sometimes me doubts that about me aka in a style. Look, we are in this together. Also, take it the bad, the good, and the ugly of President Akufo-Addo's term and regime and records. I don't know about me at the Akono, but I don't know picky and what you one thing corruption once them. It's unsaid. Government is a unit. Yera Mahama by Ebresono. 2016 was the worst of its record. That was 43%. Now, Yatmaya was 3 years in a row, and I'm very sure, say, by the end of 2024, 2025, the account that will come with work. About is saying that a buyer war fighting corruption. Near war lead the corruption fight, Domlevo, it's me in a different year. How then can you convince me that you are fighting corruption? Oman Atenase described the president as the mother serpent of all corruption. That was serious. So, it will get to a point, the common denominator will be the party in government, that is the MPP. The party in opposition, that is the NDC. So the party first. Then they will look at the individuals and how they have projected themselves and whether they have good record. You see, at any point in time, Ghana for a Kai or Moya or a brown Bemusia, and you know, MPP for crack, I say, on bad records, I'm not Mahama about to look like a Messiah.
Yeah.
So you guys have already done political campaign for him. And you know, there is no way on betting corruption once.
So is that the reason? Maybe Doc, where I can throw is that the reason? Tia and Pennyphony be crampa or myself in Kofo administration or move to Baumiamu for set campaign strategy in the Monsano. Is that the reason for some of these admonition and advice at everybody?
Campaign strategy.
Almost catch up Baumiamu, so more campaign strategy, you know. Almost a son of Nano Cradia, Canada, Japan crash or Mumpacho. Is that the reason to Mokasasa and the actual Baumian team?
It is not working. It is not working. And behind the scenes, Nombu Kompo Atenase Ashe, how are the people receiving? Who show you Mahomia, but Mahama, and Yamia Wakona?
Yeah.
You see, they are not doing busing and organizing. The funds, the support that meeting, you know, they are organic. They are just organic. People spontaneously get there. Look, maybe someone say, we are in the harvest season, are we not?
Yes.
Check the prices of goods on the market.
Yeah.
So I asked myself, hey, any year free? Yes, free harvest season more. How are we going to survive? Because I told my colleague professor, I say harvest season in a way. I not say, what about transportation? Then it dawned on me that transportation cost is still high. Very, very high. So this thing will still affect the prices of commodities on the market. And, you know, it is difficult. The campaign strategy, you know, if you ask me, it is not working. It is definitely not working. But on the last note, the president himself is also a contributing factor to the problem that Bawumia is facing with respect to the campaign.
President, you know.
That Bawumia is dying. Effort to be a CEO. No afro, no way to mean for no confiding to me. No man, pension and baby. Okay, two more problems. At the end of Bawumia campaign.
Just 1 hour will save.
And you know, that is what I call corporate benefit, corporate damage.
Wow.
We sail together or we sink together. And you know, and also being back fat Oman Peninsula before they are to abandon the tier Dr. Bawumia. Already Dr. Bawumia has his own problem. The problem, the main challenge in this campaign is credibility. Credibility. He doesn't have it. I don't know what you will say. Mahama Embra for debate. Mahama Embra for debate. It is a way of trying to unsettle Mr. Mahama so that he will show to Ghanaians say he has a better credibility than Mr. Mahama. That is all. A strategy.
Nani running mate today, Dr. Matthew Boku Brempa and Rana President Mahama A2 for say Subai way to say you say won't be fancy. I mean, on those who are Womabuano.
Dr. Napo.
Maybe besides that, Womabuano, ne addition to the ticket, no, and Babua Bawumia in any way.
This election will be probably the very first time the MPP will struggle to get over 70% in Ashanti region. This election will probably be the very first time in the Fourth Republic that the MPP will struggle to go beyond 70%. And you should bear that in mind.
Even with the Napo factor.
Now, Napo is a negative addition to Dr. Bawumia's ticket. It's a negative addition. All these pronouncements, the question is this the right person to be a vice president when Dr. Bawumia is not available? That is, if they should win the election. Is it a kind of vice president Ghanaians really want? That's the question.
Doc, when you say intellectuals on Kwana, Ebebusa Sakwachwe, Mammy Dredini, maybe Doc would it be you? Mammy Dredini and Asa Papa Capintabia, what you will use Obebusa Kwachwe say, Napoka Sabinti, and Yan Tumano. What is it? Oh, my dream about Bibi Sasho.
I want to mistake, I want to mistake. That being said, near what to Mekolo. I didn't anything. I didn't anything about. All these they pay school fees. Omufaka, Omutatari, Omutiapo. So they know what is happening. Don't underestimate their intelligence. Cra. As Sam said, the social media platform are very wide. Very, very wide. The catchment enrichment in the catchment area, quite the power. Casa, an idea in our part of the world, we don't take kindly to that.
Yes, the Casa to say,
Anunti, Anna, and where your value system is, I call it independent.
That's right.
I call it independent. And Akasa are very powerful. So if you find yourself in a position where whatever you want to get to is dependent upon people's willingness to vote for you, then you must always consider the sensibilities of all and ensure that you don't pass comments that could hurt other people's sensibility. Dr. Napo, a bit suspect.
And you're in
He is simply incorrigible. Go to for any mercy. Go to for any mercy. In dementia itself, they should reject their own son so that he goes out there to learn lessons.
But Doc, my memory was Doc, Mr.
About me and winning election. At when be so automatically he becomes our president.
That's right.
So we should think about it. Is it a kind of person that we want to be president of this country? Abraham told you anymore. Now said yeah, Tamaka. Ukaka. So he is a negative addition
to the ticket. Very well. Doc, your friends here, Medo say ne wobre ne wadagia when ya my ne war komoya yede atu ani ma yede ne kama Medo say me pem yebesa aka say Dr. Jonathan Asantiotre a political analyst one na tell nke ma me nyina we so ho na yem ye phone lines enkomoya me ne Dr. Jonathan Asantiotre adi afa ensem bi a John Dramani Mahama aka eye na ni so ade hunu a why na adwen say wo de ba obegina so ade aye o man Ghana ye ene enkomo ya ye dia fa nia Bawumia so e wo de ma no wo ne say manya me first caller e wo line so hello morning jina ye mama udin na ba bia free hello emese ba bia ojina na homa no endi mwa no 0208984166 and 050 0000257 050 0000257. Hello, good morning. Baby, I'm waiting from our hopa. Mr. Udina, baby, I'm free. On also intimate. Hey, you got the next caller. Hello, morning. Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Mr. Jomo Okasa video na no. Within a baby of free.
Okay. Mikata freeze on my line.
Lower TV set no. Na fe koso yetio.
Mpatose.
Low TV the volume no.
Mikata me bisa say. Yes, I mean, me Joseph Ago. I'm a taxi driver. Hello?
Yetio.
Yes, I mean bisa say. Na Nana Wakobu General Hospital. Ewola body. Abide almost your muton. Onu your mudia.
Me da say the question wa bisa. Me say nkomo na yedi ye no na me pese menya monso madwen kira mo betimi e dia beta ho 02089841660500000257. Hello morning.
Morning.
Body na baby of free. Over yetio. Yatonka yetio.
Hello?
Yatonka pao yetio. Ayasamu. Emesa ahomano so ni muaye. Same Jamfi amba ahomano ani amuaye. Oh, it's all good. Hello morning.
Hello, good morning.
We din baby of free.
The friend is Sego, when you just a East constituency.
Sego yetio.
The editor in check a share of Kwama on the board with a free anchor. Any NDC communication officers.
Sego kwasam so yanko. Yetio.
Assembly man say, the very papa na po. Say the Usi Casa Ghana for. Then they have a problem with your concept of me. Ghana used to be a Ghana could do no. The young people say a pair buyer. Why a driver near what you can't do that. How wait nearly the Ghana. If you could do what you assassin because Uncle Fu party, the Ghana could do nothing as a Ghana. Emma Ghana and could do the Ghana if a circle. He has Uncle Fu will move him. Here for JD and I have reaching. I believe the Ghana, at the Ghana, Cobos assassin. No one.
May I say, Mamma, for 2 more calls. Now for you, did you ready? No, SC 0208984166 and at 050000257. Mumfan Chaye, me name the SC as Sami Jamfi and Timiamba. Mumfan Chaye. Say your ball who de wuro. Say Sami Jamfi ba, non krupa pepe, and yanini bedin komo. Next went Timiamba. Mumfan Chaye. Get here for your dog for them. Mumfan Chaye. Hello, morning. Hello, morning. Hello, morning. Yet don't kapa within a baby of free. Okay, MSF phone lines, you know, there's a problem there. Mummy and is okay. Me that say. Ya did you mean the nasi? Midiane Kwame Minkah, Ajimania power near or the power mid morning Ebra Monefiada. You bet you.